Once Upon a Time in the West is a 1968 epic spaghetti western directed by Sergio Leone. It stars Henry Fonda, cast as a villain named Frank, Charles Bronson as his nemesis, Jason Robards as a bandit, and Claudia Cardinale as a newly widowed homesteader. The movie follows the beautiful Jill McBain, married in New Orleans a month before, arriving at her new husband's place to find him and his children dead. Also new to the area, a man known only as Harmonica, met by 3 gunmen whom he soon dispatches. All of the men, those at the McBains and the train depot, wore long coats, a trademark of local bandit Cheyenne and his gang. But it's Frank who works for a railroad baron who wants McBain's land and is trying to frame Cheyenne for the killing. Harmonica has his own reasons for seeking out Frank, leading to an epic showdown. Henry Fonda originally turned down the role of Frank. Director Sergio Leone flew to the US and met with Fonda, who asked why he was wanted for the film. Leone replied, "Picture this. The camera shows a gunman from the waist down, pulling his gun and shooting a running child. The camera pans up to the gunman's face, and it's Henry Fonda." Up until then, Fonda was known for his good guy roles. When Henry Fonda was trying to decide whether to be in the film, he asked his friend Eli Wallach, who had just made The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Leone, if he should take the part of Frank. Wallach said he had to do it, and told Fonda, "You'll have the time of your life." Similarly, it would be Fonda saying he considered Leone one of the greatest directors he had ever worked with, who persuaded James Coburn to take the part of Mallory in the second Once Upon a Time film, Duck, You Sucker. Henry Fonda prepared for his role as the villainous Frank by arriving in Italy with a pair of brown-colored contact lenses and a mustache. When Sergio Leone saw them, he made him take them off. Leone had planned an important close-up shot of Frank's entrance and wanted the audience to instantly recognize Fonda with his blue eyes. Sergio Leone originally wanted Sophia Loren to play Jill McBain, and Carlo Ponti, her husband, was willing to provide a considerable amount of financial backing if she was in the film. However, Leone decided not to cast her because he feared that she would try to be too dominant and influence how the film was made, given her famously headstrong and temperamental personality. He instead cast Claudia Cardinale, a personal friend of his, whom he convinced to play Jill without showing her the script. Co-writer Bernardo Bertolucci says on the film's DVD that when he first suggested to Leone that the film's central character be a woman, Leone was hesitant. He finally gave in by suggesting the introductory shot of Jill would be from below the train platform, so the camera could see under her dress, showing she wasn't wearing any undergarments. Cardinale said she was never told of the idea, and said she wouldn't have agreed to be in the movie if it required that shot. Leone, though, mercifully gave up on the idea as he finished writing the script. Claudia Cardinale's first day of filming was her nude love scene with Henry Fonda. This also marked the first time Fonda had done such a scene. During filming, his real-life wife, Shirley Mae Adams, insisted on being on set during the filming of the entire scene. Charles Bronson plays a harmonica in this film, and also played a harmonica in Robert Aldrich's Vera Cruz 14 years earlier, a film that had considerable influence on Leone. When Cheyenne tells Harmonica, "When they do you in, pray it's someone who knows where to shoot," Harmonica replies with a small smile. As he gets up and turns away, a bullet hole is visible in the middle of the back of Harmonica's coat. It has been there, not very noticeable, through the whole movie, hinting that Harmonica might already be dead. During the opening scene, Woody Strode carries a mare's leg firearm, which is a Winchester 1892. And this was in tribute to the Western series Wanted, Dead or Alive, in which Steve McQueen's bounty hunter used it as his main weapon. When Stoney is under the water tank, water keeps dripping onto the brim of his hat, causing him to flinch, and Sergio Leone to stop filming. Leone was going to move Strode over, but the actor suggested staying in the same spot. Strode wanted his character to be viewed as so cool as to not let dripping water affect him. In the spur of the moment, Leone had Strode take off his hat and drink the collected water. Also for the opening sequence, where the 3 dusters waited for the train, filmmakers lightly coated Jack Elam's face with jam and began filming close-ups while letting flies out of a jar, attempting to get Elam's reaction as one landed on his cheek. The original intent for the opening scene was to use music already composed. However, it didn't seem to fit well, so the decision was made to drop the score from the opening train station sequence, and instead record the ambient sounds relating to the scenes, including the squeaking windmill and individual footsteps. This created an exaggerated version of what had come to be known as the spaghetti sound. Afraid of being typecast, having made 3 spaghetti westerns in a row with Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood declined the opportunity to appear in this film. This was one of the factors that led to a breakdown in Eastwood and Leone's relationship. Leone wanted the film to move slowly, so viewers can feel time passing in real time as they watch a scene. A perfect example of this is the opening sequence, as the 3 gunmen wait for Harmonica. But during filming the massacre scene, he realized that taking this approach was going to result in a 5-hour-long movie, so they started to compress the script, tightening some scenes, and even removing some that had already been shot. Some of the footage removed was a scene where Harmonica, following the opening shootout, was beaten up by the sheriff and his deputies. This is why there is a scar on his face throughout the rest of the movie. Clocks are a recurring feature in the movie, many simply painted or incomplete, but reflecting the theme of the movie title. In one gun battle, a shooter aims from 5 past noon. Another clock is only painted through the number 4. From checking the time on a wristwatch to small clocks in the background of scenes, time was always being referenced throughout the movie. Al Mullock, who played one of the 3 gunmen in the opening sequence, committed suicide by jumping from his hotel window in full costume after a day's shooting. A production manager and a screenwriter who were sitting in a room in the hotel saw Mullock fall past their window, so the men ran down to help and loaded Mullock into a car, driving him to the hospital. But as they pulled up to the hospital, director Sergio Leone only cared about the costume Mullock was wearing. He said, "Get the costume. We need the costume." Mullock had appeared as the one-armed bounty hunter in Leone's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and he was wearing that same costume from that film when he made his fatal leap from the hotel. There are spaghetti westerns, but then there are Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns. They're in a class of their own, and they are close to perfection. It is a masterclass in directing and editing, with a building tension that is almost unbearable. Once Upon a Time in the West has it all, including the eerie music, sweaty faces, the waiting, and the violence. And it's all the small details that truly make it one of the best movies ever made. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and maybe even consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching this playlist. While you're at it, hit subscribe and share Recollection Road Entertainment with someone you know. As always, thank you so much for watching.